Hey everyone, I'm Kristyn Burtt. Now, you all know Tyne Stecklein from season 17 on Dancing with the Stars. She was paired with Bill Nye, who also just happened to be on the premiere season of The Masked Dancer. And guess what? So was Tyne. She was one of the women in black, and today she's giving us the secrets behind her role on the show. And she also had her very own secret as well. Hope you all enjoy this interview with Tyne Stecklein. Hi, Tyne. It is so good to see you. You look amazing.
Thank you. It is so good to see you too. And yeah, it's been so long. So you look beautiful too.
Thank you. I was trying to think the last time I saw you, and I think and I don't know what year it was, maybe 16, 17, somewhere around there, but we were at the I Danced for a Cure with
Oh yeah.
Doriana Sanchez. Yes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which was years ago.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, there's a lot to catch up on for sure. And we're going to dive right into The Masked Dancer, first of all, because I've covered as I was telling you, every aspect of the show except for the women in black. So I know nothing about all of the secrets that you guys had.
Oh, we have many.
Yes. Okay, so here's what I want to know, because obviously we have the men in black from The Masked Singer. I love that they sort of switched it up for The Masked Dancer. How much do you know about the contestants? Because I know that on the dance side, it's usually on the partner that knows who's underneath that mask. Did you guys know too?
We did not. No, we were not in the loop on who any of the contestants were. And if you watch the show, you see that we do these little bumpers with them and like their intros sometimes. And we're kind of thrown in with them pretty last minute for those rehearsals. And we have no clue who they are. And they're meeting us for the first time. It's like, here's the women in black. This is what you're doing to intro the stage. Here we go. Like it's very quick paced.
Wow. I've got to imagine that's a challenge, not only for them, because they're just trying to figure life out, moving around in a mask, but even for you guys, just trying to get a feel, because every contestant had different levels of dance capability.
Totally. Yeah. And for me, it's been a while since I've done live TV. And so it was a big challenge because sometimes we weren't sure, with some of our packages, it's like, if there's time at the beginning or at the end of a performance, you might do this, you might not. If the contestant feels up to it, you might do it, you might not. So we're just kind of like on standby. And then they're like, here we go, we're rolling. And there's a camera and we're literally rolling. And we may have practiced with them, we may have not. So yeah, it was very on the fly, which is exciting and nerve-wracking. So.
It's pretty wild. I love to hear that. And then you guys obviously did a lot of green screen work as well. When were those done?
Yeah, so we did a lot of B-roll, which was so fun. And those were done, so we had a really busy schedule because we were filming on the live show days, obviously. But then kind of anytime we weren't doing that, we were typically filming all of our B-roll green screen footage with a different team. That's kind of a different director, some different producers working in that field. So we were both stage and B-roll. And so it was just busy, very long days. Very few days off. So
by the way, in the middle of a pandemic on top of all of this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Which I was so grateful to have the work in the middle of the pandemic.
That's what I've gathered from everyone. It's just everyone felt safe on set, which I thought was fantastic. They felt, well taken care of in terms of that, but just that we had such a weird kind of March to kind of midsummer going on, to be able to like kind of get back to work was kind of a nice cap to the end of 2020. Was that the same sort of feeling for you?
Oh, totally. Yeah. They had auditions for Dancer at the beginning of 2020, and I can't remember if we were officially booked or if we were just on like a strong avail, but we were supposed to start in March. And even like the week the pandemic, it was like, okay, we're coming in tomorrow for our first day for fittings. And then everything was shut down that day. So I had no idea if that would even resurface or if I would be booked on the show if it did resurface, so it was just I was so thankful just to get back to work and just have something come up after, many months of nothing. So
I know, like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? I still not sure what we're all doing, but we're making it through. I think maybe a little bit better at this point.
Yeah.
Did you know, because this was a little bit of a reunion for you, did you know that Bill Nye was underneath that ice cube?
I did not know because, we weren't really allowed to know who the contestants were until they were demasked. But I just know his body language. Believe it or not, I know his smell, which is nice. It's a nice aroma. But Bill, not like, I spent enough very close contact time with him that I was like, I think I know who this might be. And, you know, we have a general like reference, like, oh, this person might be a little older or a little this or that, you know. So kind of when I had a little information and just watching the clue packages, which we were also a part of, I had a pretty strong feeling. So
I love that you went off of smell. I'm someone who has a very strong sense of smell, both good and bad.
yeah.
But it's nice when you're like, oh, this kind of takes me back to season 17.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
That's incredible. Were you able to connect with him even just for a moment after he was unmasked?
Yes, and he's so lovely. I mean, he spent a lot of time, just his free time, just hanging out to talk to me because, you know, aside from like text message exchanges, or we've done like a dinner here and there, we really haven't gotten to catch up. So it was so lovely. And he loves dance so much. He loved it then, he loves it now. So it was just, I thought it was so great. He was putting himself back out there on another, you know, show, and it was really wonderful to see him.
Yeah, and I love that Ken was like, "This is my friend Bill Nye." I'm like, "Oh,
I know. Yeah.
sometimes they're so good." And Brian Austin Green guessing Elizabeth Smart.
I know. I was having a really hard time with that. I did not guess her. But yeah, that was very impressive.
I was going completely the opposite direction. I'm like, "It is Omarosa." I was so sure it was Omarosa.
Yeah, but that makes, I mean, yeah.
But I spoke with Paul, and I think that it was really nice to hear like what a lovely experience. And it was so outside the box for her that I think it just brought another layer to her life of something so wonderful and beautiful. Her story, I wish she had stayed a little bit longer. I have to be honest.
I know, me too. Yeah, but I mean, I have to agree. And I think it's just, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, especially younger generations, who maybe don't even know her story. So I think it was so great that she was on the show.
For sure. Were you guessing, like, by the time we got to the top 5, I was like, I know who everybody is, because enough of them were now connected to the dance world or gymnastics, which I follow quite a bit, that I was like, this for sure is Max. This 100% is Kenzie.
Oh, wow.
At that point by the end.
With some of them, yeah, definitely with some of them. I knew, like with Max, even just kind of the way he moves and just his general, height and demeanor, things like that. I was like, I'm pretty sure, without being told that.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
I know, and I love that he got to dance with Coco and Kiki got to choreograph him. There's so much like really great synergy, so that made it sort of such a sweet story.
Absolutely, yeah.
You had your own secret on The Masked Dancer, so I want to say congratulations because you are working on baby number 2.
I am. Yeah, I'm pregnant, and it was a secret because I actually, believe it or not, I found out I was pregnant after I had been like rebooked to start the show, and kind of after we started working. Mm-hmm. And so it was just something where I was like, okay, I now have this job and I'm pregnant, which is so thankful for both things. I knew I could dance throughout the pregnancy because I did with my first son. I danced and I taught up until probably like 8.5 months. Mm-hmm. And so, I talked to my doctor. I'm like, I don't really want to make this public. It's so early, right? I didn't feel confident sharing it with anyone that I didn't have to yet. And I'm like, is that okay? Like, do you feel okay with it just kind of being my secret, but I'm going and doing 12-hour days daily, sometimes longer, on my feet in heels? She's like, yeah, because that's what you do. She's like, that's what you do for a living. So she's like, as long as you feel good, then, I'm good. So yeah, I definitely had a day where I was quite sick and running to the bathroom and hoping that no one would know, because COVID times, it's like, you don't want anyone to think you're sick. So I'm like, oh, I have a migraine, so I'm nauseous, which I do get them. Right. But it was definitely a bit of a lie that day. So
were you okay in terms of costuming? You're so naturally lean as it is. Were you gaining any baby weight by the end?
By the very end, like the last 2 weeks, because we had these great suit, like pant and jacket suits, and they were like a high-waisted button pant. And by the last couple weeks, they were just tight, especially if I would eat. And so I kind of said to the customer, she's like, are you okay? You're like pulling on your pants a lot. I'm like, yeah, they're just, I don't know if I'm gaining a little weight, but they're a little uncomfortable. She's like, great, we'll take them out. And it was just like, no thing. And I was even going to tell her, I was just going to say, I'm pregnant.
Like, don't say anything.
Yeah. And she was like, she didn't even ask. And it's not that I wouldn't have wanted her or anyone else on the show. It's just, I wanted to do my job, and I knew I could do my job really well, regardless of being pregnant. And I didn't want any special treatment or anyone being worried. And it's like, after the fact, everyone's like, you should have told us, we would have XYZ. I'm like, that's why I didn't tell you.
Exactly.
I didn't need that.
You wanted to be like everybody else, and which I think, that's a tribute to who you are and everything. But I'm sure people would have been happy to make accommodations. But I love that, I think about this too, because people have put on pandemic weight, and I love that wardrobe was just like, we're just going to let this out, not making it a big deal or anything else like that. Like, how beautiful is that?
Yeah. Yeah. And we had such a great team, a wardrobe team. So
the costumes that they created are stunning.
They're stunning. Yeah. And then just our dressers that were with us daily were just like the best. So it's really
unbelievable.
Nice.
Did you tell everyone on the last day that you were pregnant, by the way?
I didn't. I told everyone on social media like a month ago, because I was actually going straight from my last day on Masked Dancer. The next morning, I flew to North Carolina to shoot a film that I was acting in. And so I just was like, I actually had to leave Masked Dancer a couple days early because I was already had this film lined up. So I just kind of kept in work mode. There were days I forgot I was pregnant, honestly, because I was in work mode, So yeah, I just made it public recently, and that's how a lot of people found out.
They must have been like, what, are you kidding me? Well, I think it's also important though, because that is one of the things where people are like, why are you dancing through your pregnancy? But we've seen Allison Holker do it. We've seen you do it. We've seen Peter Murgatroyd. And I love that, because again, as long as your doctor is okay with it and you're feeling good, why shouldn't you be doing it?
Totally. And there's an element of, I know people, they have the best intention, but the first time I was pregnant, I did tell people very early, my agency and choreographers, and they're worried. They're like, we don't want anything to happen. So I felt like I actually lost a bit of work the first time around, just because people are like, oh, we just want her to be careful and take care of the baby. And, I so get that. But then from my side, it's like, I want to work as long as I can, because now I'm to the point where I'm showing a lot, and then I'll have the baby. So it's like, for me, I just wanted it to be, not something on the people I was working with's mind. And also it just was really, it's so interesting because we're in the pandemic. I wasn't really seeing people before the show or after the show wrapped. So it was like, there wasn't really a reason to tell people, so.
We've seen a lot of celebrity sneak pregnancies and things like that. I mean, maybe Kayling's like, oh, I had a baby a couple weeks ago. And I'm like,
when, how?
Posting all along with photos, but we weren't looking because she was dressing to hide the bump. And if you're not looking for it.
Yep.
I love it. Tell us about the film that you did.
Yeah. So it was an indie film, and I don't have a release date yet, because with indie films, with whatever they do end up getting as far as, the release of the film, I think their editing time and all of that will kind of depend on some funding and things, but I think it probably will not be released until either the end of 2021 or maybe 2022, which sounds weird to even say, but it's called Rosebud Lane. And it's probably like the biggest passion project I've ever done. I was in love with the script and in love with my role, and just so grateful that I got to work on it. My character also was pregnant in the film. So it was just
coincidentally?
Coincidentally.
Wow. It's like you were meant to play the role.
Yeah. And actually, I probably shouldn't have even shared that, because that's not like it's something you learn throughout the film. So we'll take that back. But it was just so special for me.
And is it a drama? Is it a romantic?
It's a drama, like a bit of a thriller drama, but.
Ooh, I like it. It's got a little bit of edge to it then.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, okay, so you're having the baby, you're in your third trimester. So, do you, having two kids, working. That is a really full life. You've got your husband along with that too.
Yeah.
Um, what are you kind of like thinking? Are you going to get back to dancing? Are you going to focus more on acting, or just kind of as things come up, you'll take it day by day?
Yeah, I kind of, before my first son was born, I was really focusing on my acting. And so I had kind of taken a bit of a pause from dance. And then I had my son, and I just was like, I want to feel like myself, which is a performer, whether that's dancing or acting. Um, I'm a performer, right? And so I kind of just was like, I'm going to be really open to whatever opportunities start coming my way. And that's been so great because I like doing everything and all the things, and I like changing things up often. So I think right now my plan is just kind of, again, to be open and flexible. And I think after Brecken was born, I think I did my first dance job back like 6 weeks later,
Are
which
you
just,
kidding me? You're amazing.
and my doctor was like 6 weeks, and then a job popped up. I'm like, great. So I did that, and it was
Good for you.
so great. I was like, okay, I feel like myself.
Your
Um,
body probably was so excited to move and
Yeah, and it feels good. Like, same thing, even working on Mass Dancer, the days where I don't move, I feel very stiff and like my joints are sore
mhm.
because it's just I'm a mover.
Yep.
So yeah, I think this time around, again, I'm just really open to whatever comes my way. And luckily my husband's also in the business and freelance. So it's like we have had a really beautiful flow of, I work sometimes and he works sometimes, or we both work sometimes, but it's really nice and really, really hectic and stressful at times because it's like midnight and you get a call time for like 5 a.m. the next day and you're like, I don't have a babysitter. Great.
Wait, how do we do this?
Get
But
it
you
out.
figure it out. I think that's the beauty of like this industry. You're like, we will make this work. It's a team effort, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
So important. Um, just like one final thought on season 17. Do you have a memory that still sort of sticks with you from Dancing with the Stars?
Oh gosh. I mean, I have so many. I don't think I have a specific moment, but I just remember how wonderful Bill was, as far as like, it was my first season as a pro. It was my only season as a pro, but he couldn't have been like more supportive of me, and the fact that he got me as a partner and just kind of my cheerleader, which was huge because I was very insecure and very nervous to be on the show as a pro for the first time. So just how loving and supportive he was throughout, even once he was eliminated, just having that backing from him was really, really huge for me.
His season, even though it was short, it's honestly, it's very memorable because he was such a sport when he got injured and people are thinking he's not going to be able to dance. And he's like, nope, he was not going to go down literally on the floor. He was going to go down fighting. But I love that spirit about him. And those are some of the things I always remember about Dancing with the Stars, not necessarily the best dancer or the person who wins.
Yep, totally. Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Well, it is so good to see you. I've got to say, I was so excited that you said yes. And
I'm
it's always lovely to see your face. And I just want to wish you a happy, healthy pregnancy and a super healthy, cute baby, because I know that's going to happen. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
boy or girl, are you telling people or are you just waiting?
Yeah, we're sharing. It's another boy. So
You're a
two
boy
boys.
mom.
I'm very outnumbered in my household, but
Oh, but mama's boys, they love their mama the most.
the first one sure does. He loves me. So I'm looking forward to it. And he'll
I
have
love
plenty.
that. I know your husband's like, do I get one now?
Well, my husband wants a girl. He was actually like kind of crushed when it was a girl, or when it wasn't a girl, the second one, because he's like, I want like a daddy's girl.
I know.
But
Oh,
he'll have a buddy, so it'll be so great.
oh, I love that. Well, I'm so happy for you and your family. And I just look forward to hopefully catching up with you at some point when we're all allowed to be in person at some point.
Me too. Me too. Thank you for having me. It's so great to see you too.
Thanks, Tyne.
Yeah. Bye.